Okay, so let's take a look at how we use this simple time class. We'll look at some of the methods. We won't look at all of them. And we'll look at what happens in memory. And it's very important to understand how the constructors are called, when they're called, and we'll also talk a little bit about how destruction occurs. So what I'm imagining here is you have your implementation of your time class, and you can refer to the screencast about what this means. And so let's start off by just creating a simple time object, T1, and we're going to use the default constructor. So when this statement, when this declaration executes, we go out, or the computer program rather, runtime environment, goes out and allocates memory for a time object and gives it the name T1. Well, you know that a time object consists of two integers, hours and minutes. So it also allocates space for them. And these two private data members are unassigned. Okay, they have an unassigned value, and this illustrates the importance of making the proper assignments in the default constructor. So as soon as it allocates memory for this object, it then executes the default constructor. And as you know, the default constructor assigned hours to 0 and minutes to 0. And so now we have a constructed or initialized time object. And now at this point I can call its methods and I can use it. So if I have T1 and I write print, then you know in terms of my output, it's going to call the print method, which prints the hours separated from the minutes using a colon. So we'll see something that looks like this. Now, don't worry about the formatting right now. We'll get to the formatting a little bit later. Maybe this should be printed using 2 zeros if we're talking about, real military time. But, this is a formatting issue, and we'll get to that a little later. Now, if I want to set hours to something specific, I can use the set method. And I can pass in a value for it, such as 15. I can also do the same thing for minutes. And now when I call the print method, then I see the changed values for minutes and hours. Or I see how I've manipulated my time object T1. Of course, I can create other time objects, and this time I'll use the explicit constructor. And a similar process happens. Memory is allocated for this time object, which we can refer to as T2, and then it executes the appropriate constructor. In this case, it's the only explicit constructor we have based on the number of arguments. Remember that we overloaded our constructors. So based on the 2 arguments, it executes our explicit constructor. 10 and 14 are assigned to the parameters, and then we execute. And when we execute, it assigns 10 or new hours to the private data member hours, and it assigns 14 or new minutes to the private data member minutes. And so now we have a constructed object, and if I write T2 print, then it will write 10 and 14. Now if I call enter, it is going to prompt me to enter a time, and so I can enter 5:45, and then I'll hit enter. My little cursor will go here. And the enter method will extract 5 and store it in hours. It will read the colon, and then it will read 45 and store it as minutes. So now when I say t2.print, I will see again 5:45. So that's just a simple main example, or example in main, where I'm using my time object. So you should code this up and get it running.